DFG coming to you, troop from the graveyard. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a great Wednesday. Hey guys, I just want to take a moment and I just want to share a couple of things with you. Again, and this message is to Native Americans, so-called African Americans, black people, all those other names that were given to you. You're a native to this land, so one of these days you'll get it. But this message is for you, and this is around education. The question was asked to me: do I believe that Native American children, Aboriginal children, should they be educated in the school or the public or private school system, or should they be homeschooled? Good question. My opinion is that they should absolutely not be educated in the private and public school system. And I know you might ask, well, how are they going to get educated? Homeschool. Homeschool. And I know some of you guys out here, you're probably feeling a little inadequate to homeschool your children. You're probably looking at it like, well, how am I going to teach them, all these things that they can learn in school? I don't know these things. Well, let me remind you of something very important and something that I know that you can do. Remember the 3 R's? The 3 R's: writing, reading, arithmetic. Remember that? Writing, reading, arithmetic. I know there's no one who's in the hearing of my voice believe that you can't teach your child how to read, how to write, and how to add and subtract and multiply. And even if you can't, there are so many books and resources and tools out there to help you through that process that is no excuse that you cannot do it. And I know you might come back and say, well, what about, technology and science? You think that your child needs you to teach them how to use a laptop or a cell phone or an iPad? Are you kidding me? I know 2-year-olds that know how to do that, and they never went to school. They never were educated. They were babies, and they can sit there and operate an iPad. So that would just be an excuse. That's enough information out there with the technology, just the normal access. They will be able to access those things. So you ask the question, well, why are you against public or private, school education? Well, first of all, the public school system as it stands today is a public school system that was set up for white supremacy, white privilege. And I'm going to say that again. It was set up for white supremacy, white privilege. And no, I'm not speculating. I went back and did my own research. So before you question me, go do your own research. You go check, because I did. And I'm going to tell you what I found out when I went back to check. It came through Great Britain, and they came to here. Well, they really went to East India. And then they came here as well. And one of the things that they said was this: that we don't want to change the skin. In other words, we want the Indian to stay the Indian. We just want him to have Western or white taste. Let me say it again. Keep them black, but give them white taste, white desires. Give them a white education so that they can support all things white. But make sure that they understand that they're black. So keep them black, give them white taste. That way, whatever they do, once we finish educating them, will always support our agenda. And you say, well, what is that agenda? Well, the globalist agenda today is the agenda. Marxism, socialism, feminism, transgenderism, and all the other isms that go along with that. That is the global agenda. That is the new school agenda. Teach everybody that they're the same. Everybody is equal. When they know good and so well, that's not true. For the most part, just the color of your skin is going to keep you from getting treated equal. And you don't have to, you that. You go ask how many of these parents out here whose kids have been, unjustly treated in the criminal justice system. Do their children get, treated the same way as other kids got treated? Or you go ask somebody in the system, better yet. I gave you the numbers a while back. so-called men of color, Native Americans, are 6 times more likely to go to jail for the same thing that a so-called white person, the same crime that a white person committed. 6 times more likely to go to jail. Why you think that is? If this doesn't matter, if social engineering is not what's going on, if everybody was equal, since that's what you want to get me to believe, or they want to get us to believe, I'm sorry. If it was all equal, as they say, everybody is the same. That is the brainwashing. See, that's the new social engineering. Everybody is the same. They know everybody's not the same. I mean, come on. You don't think they watch the news? You don't think they read the papers? You don't think they look at the internet? They hear and see all the things you hear and see. So, you would have to be, very, very naive, or think that I'm very naive, to tell me that everything is equal and everybody gets treated the same. We all know better than that. So if you take your child, or if you want your child to get a well-rounded education, you would want to take them out of the public school system, out of the private school system, unless you want your child socially engineered, being taught a globalist agenda that's going to support everybody but them, because they're never going to be included. They'll be able to contribute, but they're never going to be included. If that's what you want your child to be, and not knowing anything about his own history or her own history, if you don't want them to know who they are, and you want them to just be programmed, socially engineered, to be somebody that they're not, then you leave them in the public school system or the private school system. They teach the same thing for the most part. Or, as a better alternative, you homeschool them. The 3 R's again: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then every now and then, take them over to the museum. Take them out to a library. Travel. Take them around. Show them around. Take them around the country. In your car, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Stay at the rest stops, or get the Motel 6, $60 a night hotels. Take them, places where they can see who they are and get to know their land. And then you'll have a well-rounded child who can think independently. You follow me? Who are not going to be programmed with things, for the most part, I think most of you guys don't agree with. Because it'd be hard for me to believe that well-informed Native American Aboriginal people are supportive of some of these new age agenda things that they're pushing out here right now. At least I hope you're not. Things like, again, programs that set our children up for mass incarceration because they think white, but they're black. In other words, they think the same rules that apply to so-called whites are going to be applied to them when they do certain things that they should not do, and it's not the way that's going to work. We talk about, the employment aspects of it, not, being underemployed. First, last hired, first fired. Substandard housing, subprime, rates, mortgage rates when you can buy a house, redlining. In other words, banks giving loans to people in certain zip codes and not giving loans to those who are in the inner city. Redistricting, creating voting blocks so that your representatives who you may want to go in and represent you, in your local politics and even in the national politics, redlining so that you and building power blocks to eliminate or marginalize your vote. And I can go on and on and on. But how can you know these things? You follow me? Or how can you understand what I'm saying unless you go out and do your own research? And unless you've tried. For me, as a parent and a grandparent, if my child was to come and ask me, because I only have one child that has, children, so I only have one set of grandchildren. If he were to ask me, should his children be homeschooled or schooled in the private or public school system, I would tell him, man, get your children, save your children while you can save your children. Because once that public school system gets done with them, and once they get through 12 years of indoctrination, told everything, that they don't need to know, and none of what they need to know, they're going to come out here in this world totally unprepared to be independent, totally unprepared to think critically, totally unprepared to help and sustain a culture that's going to be beneficial to them. Now that's the truth. So, here's what I say to you. Go in, do your research. Look at homeschooling. It's a great alternative to what's going on in these schools. If you don't want your babies introduced to sexual material, what would we call that, sex education in the 3rd and 4th grade, then you better get them out of those schools. If your values, your morals state that you believe in certain types of relationships, in other words, you believe that a man should be with a woman and a woman should be with a man, then you better get them out of those places, because that's not what they're teaching your children. They're teaching your children that it's okay for Johnny to have 2 daddies, or Sally to have 2 mamas. Now, if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. But that should be something you're signing off on, not the school system. And it's even worse than that, guys. That's just, the tip of the iceberg. So, to answer that question, in my opinion, just checking to make sure I didn't miss anything and it don't look like I did. The national agenda, is a white supremacist agenda. I'm not talking about white supremacy in terms of bigotry. I'm talking about white supremacy in terms of white privilege, white nationalism. And unfortunately, my brothers and my sisters of color, Native Americans, you're not white. So why would you be educating your child as though him or her, she or him were? I know you love me. As I say, don't hate me because I tell you the truth, okay? Just go do your own research, go do your homework. Ultimately, go make your own decision. But if you don't have a culture to support you, you're out there by yourself. Because the broader culture, they take care of their own. They understand self-preservation. And if, you see those police cars saying, to protect and serve, if you can read right under there, it should be saying protect and serve white people. Unless you're in a small town with your own black police force. Now, that's a fact. That's the truth. It's the truth straight way. Love you. Thank you for listening. Like the video if you do. If you don't, dislike it. Share it. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to the channel. Me, Men of Gideon Flight, would appreciate it. Peace. Talk to you guys later. DFG, Truth from the Graveyard. Have a good day, everyone. Bye now.